see the conflict that he's going through.
My wife, third straight year.
Welcome, legends. This is News and Rings, bringing you non-stop WWE news, match results, and inside scoops. Hit subscribe and let's dive straight in. The year 2025 was supposed to be a golden era for wrestling, but everything changed the night the company's top star, known on-screen as the EST, became the center of a scandal that set the entire wrestling community ablaze. What began as whispers backstage turned into a storyline twist so wild, so unexpected, that fans and insiders alike were stunned not by real-life drama, but by how far the creative team was willing to go to build one of the most jaw-dropping heel turns in recent memory. The EST, who had built her legacy on being the fastest, strongest, and toughest, suddenly found herself at the heart of a fictional arc that explored ego, ambition, and betrayal in a way the company had never attempted before, blurring the lines between character and narrative in a way designed to shake viewers to their core. The moment the fictional storyline went nuclear, the entire arc kicked off when writers crafted a dramatic scene where the EST's on-screen husband, a beloved tag team star, was scripted to stumble upon a moment of betrayal that shattered the illusion of wrestling's perfect power couple. In the world of scripted entertainment, this was meant to mirror the company's history of dramatic twists, but the creative team took it further than anyone expected. The in-story reveal portrayed the EST as someone who had been secretly maneuvering for more influence backstage, not in real life but strictly within the scripted universe of the show. This dramatic direction was designed to underline the darker side of ambition, portraying her as someone willing to manipulate schedules, favors, and alliances to stay at the top. Fans were stunned not because it was real, but because it felt like the kind of boundary-pushing storytelling that defined wrestling's most unforgettable eras. The fictional scandal. Behind the curtain within the fictional storyline, her character wasn't just stepping out on her partner, she was breaking internal rules, bending the system, and cooperating with a fictional high-ranking executive character who was written as someone abusing power for personal gain. The show painted the EST as someone who had orchestrated a string of secret meetings, altered bookings, and shifted her travel schedule to maintain her dominance, turning the once inspirational superstar into a cunning mastermind who manipulated the very machine that made her famous. None of this reflected the real performer. It was purely part of the narrative the writers had created, a dramatic exploration of corruption and ambition meant to shake up the company's fictional world. The fictional investigation that changed everything. As the story escalated, the company unveiled an in-universe investigation, played out through episodes and digital segments, that added layers of depth and mystery. In the storyline, the EST's actions were said to violate multiple clauses of her in-story contract, with fictional evidence such as time-stamped travel logs, altered booking schedules, and confidential texts driving the narrative. These elements were crafted to create a sense of realism while still being entirely scripted, giving fans the thrill of a high-stakes scandal without ever touching real-life reputations. Within the tale, executives were shown scrambling, sponsors were depicted as concerned, and the fictional wrestling board held emergency meetings to decide the EST's storyline fate, all designed to immerse viewers deeper into the unfolding chaos. A character's descent into desperation. As her character's world unraveled, the EST was portrayed as spiraling, desperately trying to hold together the empire she had built through deception in the storyline. In emotional backstage vignettes, performed convincingly but entirely scripted, her character pleaded with authority figures, promising to take suspensions, demotions, or storyline punishments to avoid being written off. The once dominant hero had fully transformed into a fictional villain undone by her own ambition, a storytelling move intended to give the performer new material to explore while offering the audience a compelling fall-from-grace arc that felt grand, dramatic, and full of emotional weight. The locker room reacts in storyline. The fallout in the fictional universe spread throughout the roster, with other performers delivering segments expressing disappointment, betrayal, or anger toward the EST's character. Women's division stars spoke out in scripted promos about how her fictional manipulation undermined their opportunities, while her husband's tag team partner vowed revenge in what became one of the most viral confrontations of the year. Fans took sides, not in real life, but in the story, fueling debates about loyalty, ambition, and ethics within the company's on-screen world. Merchandise tied to her character was phased out as part of the narrative, adding another layer of realism to her fall. The impact on the wrestling company. Within the story, inside the scripted universe, executives debated whether to suspend, fire, or demote the EST's character, each choice carrying consequences that would ripple through multiple divisions. Storyline sponsors expressed concern about the company's reputation, and a major upcoming streaming deal was shown as being at risk if leadership didn't act swiftly. The writing team used these fictional stakes to highlight how one character's misconduct could affect an entire empire, making the arc feel massive, consequential, and unforgettable. Behind the scenes, performers and executives praised the storyline's ambition, noting how it revitalized interest in backstage politics narratives that hadn't been explored in years. The truth behind the character's heel. Turn while the storyline depicted her as a master manipulator who destroyed careers, sabotaged rivals, and used influence to stay ahead. None of this reflected real life. It was all crafted to create one of the most powerful villain turns in modern wrestling storytelling. The real performer embraced the challenge with incredible emotional depth, giving fans the most layered, nuanced performance of her career. Viewers understood this was fiction, but the writing was so sharp and the acting so convincing that the arc blurred the lines in the best possible way, proving that wrestling storytelling can still surprise audiences in an era where fans think they've seen it all. The aftermath and the legacy of the storyline. By the time the arc reached its peak, fans were fully invested in seeing the EST's character face consequences. Would she be suspended, stripped of titles, exiled from the company? The build-up set records for digital engagement, live crowd reactions, and storyline speculation. Analysts praised the narrative for breathing life into multiple divisions at once, elevating the EST, her on-screen husband, their rivals, and a slate of supporting characters who all benefited from the unfolding drama. The fallout became a storytelling masterclass in how to break down a hero and rebuild them into a layered, complex antagonist whose eventual redemption, if it came, would feel earned. A cautionary tale. Inside a fictional world, the EST's fall from grace, though entirely scripted, served as a powerful reminder of how quickly fame and influence can be lost when a character's ambition turns dark. The wrestling world understood it for what it was: a creative team pushing boundaries, performers elevating material, and an entertainment company crafting one of the biggest twists of the decade. The real lesson wasn't about scandal, it was about storytelling, character transformation, and the emotional investment fans bring to wrestling. The arc will be studied for years as one of the most daring, dramatic, and narratively rich storylines in modern wrestling history, proving that even in 2025, this industry can still shock its audience in the best possible way.